Have you ever wondered what Santeria truly is, beyond the myths and misunderstandings surrounding it? For centuries, many have misinterpreted it, but today, we'll uncover its true meaning, its rich African origins, and how this powerful spiritual tradition has survived and evolved through time and adversity. In this video, we'll deeply explore the foundations of our religion, from its Yoruba roots in Africa to its establishment in the Americas during the era of slavery. You'll discover why it's called Santeria, how religious syncretism emerged as a survival strategy, and you'll grasp the true essence of this spiritual tradition as a path to holistic healing and connection with the divine. Stay until the end, as we'll reveal fundamental concepts about our spiritual destiny and how the Orishas guide us to fulfill our life's purpose. If you're passionate about Afro-Cuban traditions and want to delve deeper into Yoruba ancestral wisdom, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Ofún Oshe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming videos about the Orishas, sacred rituals, and spiritual knowledge. Let's begin this journey of understanding toward the true essence of Santeria. Let's get to the heart of the matter, as this topic is vast and deserves a proper depth. Santeria is a religion with deep roots in Africa, specifically in regions we now know as Nigeria, parts of Togo, and the Republic of Benin. Its foundations come primarily from the Yoruba tribes, though we also find influences from other African ethnic groups that enrich this spiritual tradition. This religion arrived in the Americas during the horrific era of slavery and took root mainly in Cuba and Brazil. While other regions of the Americas practice African-derived religions, these two countries became the primary hubs for the expansion of our worship. We must also acknowledge that other traditions, like Vodun, popularly known as Voodoo, took hold in Haiti, parts of Cuba, and New Orleans, following parallel but distinct paths. The history of our religion in the Americas is marked by a phenomenon called transculturation or acculturation. When diverse African ethnic groups were concentrated in confined spaces like Cuba and forced to coexist, a cultural and intellectual exchange occurred. Each ethnic group learned elements from others and incorporated them into their own practices. This is why, in Regla Ocha Ifa, we find rituals and worship styles from ethnic groups like the Arara, Egbado, Aiyé, Oyo, and even Congolese and Mandinga influences. Cuba and Brazil became cultural melting pots where diverse beliefs fused, shaping our Afro-American religious heritage. It's important to explain why our tradition is also called Regla Lucumí. The origin of this term isn't entirely clear, but we know it was traditionally applied to enslaved people from the Yoruba region. These individuals were preferred by Spanish and Portuguese colonizers due to their physical strength and productivity, making Lucumí a mark of quality in slave markets. Today, there are several theories about the word Lucumí. The most accepted one suggests it comes from the Yoruba greeting Olukumi, meaning my friend, a term enslaved people used among themselves as a sign of brotherhood. The three Lucumí traditions that remain are those from Oyo, Aiyé, and Egbado. As for the Arara, their lineages include Magino, Ajikon, Cuebano, and Sabalu, each with their own ritual variations. One of the most critical adaptations African religions had to make in the Americas was incorporating Catholic influences. To understand this, we must remember that during slavery, the Inquisition imposed brutal religious suppression. Enslaved people couldn't openly worship their traditional gods, as their overseers tolerated no religious ideas outside Christianity. Anyone caught worshiping non-Christian entities faced torture or death. Faced with this reality, our spiritual ancestors devised a clever strategy. They placed images of Catholic saints in front of the African deities' religious symbols. This tricked those monitoring their proper evangelization. While they prayed in their dialects to their disguised deities, the inquisitors were satisfied seeing them pray before Catholic imagery, regardless of the language used. This phenomenon is known as syncretism. equating Catholic saints with African deities to continue worshipping and performing rituals for the hidden Orishas, the Yoruba term for saints. Not only were images adopted, but also Catholic rites and tools were repurposed for Orisha worship. It's crucial to reflect deeply on this syncretism. Though born out of necessity and survival, it eventually became ingrained as custom. To speak plainly, and without intending offense, I must say I don't fully agree with syncretism as an authentic spiritual practice. It was a forced adaptation by our ancestors that later became habit through historical inertia. In many ways, we've shifted from being Yoruba to partially Catholic, adopting practices absent in the original African tradition. The reinterpretation of Catholic liturgical elements in Regla de Ocha has created a fascinating symbolic appropriation. For example, while Catholicism mourns Christ's passion, Santeria's temporary covering of Orishas might link to cycles of spiritual regeneration tied to the Yoruba concept of Aiyé, the physical world. Some Ile Ocha, house temples, selectively cover Orishas associated with minor saints, keeping central deities like Elegua, the guardian of crossroads, visible. This diversity of practices stems from Santeria's ritual flexibility. As traditional teachings emphasize, each Ile has its own path, validating different traditions. Ritual decisions should rely on specific oracular consultations, not external universal dogmas. The factors behind adopting or rejecting syncretic practices are complex. Religious lineages play a key role. Temples with strong Catholic influence, especially in regions like Havana and Matanzas, often maintain these practices as interfaith respect. Conversely, lineages focused on pure Yorubism, like some in Santiago de Cuba, reject them as colonial contamination. There are also differing interpretations of liturgical cycles. Some Babalawos, priests, believe certain Catholic periods align with Itutu, energy calmness, minimizing intense spiritual interactions. Others argue that Orishas, as emanations of Olodumare, the supreme god, transcend human calendars and needn't adapt to foreign traditions. Anthropological studies reveal that roughly 68% of Ile Ocha in Havana modify rituals during periods like Holy Week. However, few use purple veils, a Catholic liturgical color, preferring white or blue fabrics tied to Obatala and Yemaya, a Yoruba reinterpretation of Catholic practices. The highest-ranking priests, known as Oluwo, have the authority to decree periods of Osain, spiritual retreat, that may coincide with Christian holidays, and to determine through the Ifa oracle whether a house temple should adopt specific syncretic practices. This has led to fascinating ritual innovations across regions, where hybrid practices blending both traditions but reinterpreted through a fundamentally Yoruba worldview have emerged. In our next video, we'll specifically discuss one of the most controversial syncretic practices, the covering of the Santos, Orishas, during Holy Week. We'll analyze why some religious houses follow this tradition, explore differing interpretations, and I'll share my personal stance on the matter, grounded in the fact that no Odu of Ifa or traditional scripture supports this custom. It's a fascinating topic that deserves its own dedicated exploration. The ritual autonomy of priestly lineages is a defining feature of the rule of Ocha, where no universal regulations exist. This flexibility allows each Ile Ocha to negotiate its own relationship with colonial legacies and Yoruba roots, creating a rich diversity of practices shaped by both history and the unique oracular revelations of each house. One major disadvantage our religion faced in the Americas was its humble origins. Unlike other traditions practiced by societal elites in their homelands, ours arrived in the Americas through enslavement, the most marginalized origin imaginable. After emancipation in Cuba, many freed black people occupied the lowest social strata. This marginalization, combined with the need for syncretism, gave rise to the derogatory term Santería, literally saint worship, to describe our religion. The name reinforced the era's racism, dismissively labeling it as black people's nonsense. Persecution was so severe that even after Cuba's independence, many practitioners hid their faith from their own children, fearing they'd face the same humiliation and abuse they endured under colonial authorities. Our elders were persecuted not only by authorities, but also by members of their own ethnic groups, who falsely accused them, leading to unjust imprisonment. Stories from Orishas, the proper term for initiated Santeros, recount these absurd persecutions in post-independence Cuba. A particularly tragic case occurred in 1944, known as the Juan Jimaguas incident in Perico, where elders were brutalized. Their Orishas were thrown into the streets, a horrific desecration that caused many to fall ill from shame and grief, some even dying. These events are not myths. They're documented in historical studies of our religion. This legacy of persecution and resistance defines our religious identity. Unlike faiths born from power and imposition, ours emerged from survival, resistance, and cultural preservation under extreme adversity. Far from diminishing its value, this history magnifies it, showcasing the spiritual strength and conviction of our ancestors who kept this tradition alive for us to practice proudly today. Let's discuss literary references related to our religion. One of the most popular early texts was Lidia Cabrera's El Monte. However, it's critical to clarify that this is not a religious book, but an ethnological study. As an ethnological work, it holds historical and cultural value, but is riddled with perceptual errors, liturgical misunderstandings, and conflations of distinct traditions. While invaluable for studying Afro-Cuban cultures, it's the last text to consult as a religious guide. The book's botanical section is especially problematic. For priests, whether of Ocha or Ifa, using incorrect herbs in rituals could render them ineffective or even harmful. This isn't to discredit Cabrera's research, but to contextualize it. Many modern misconceptions about our religion stem from flawed interpretations in texts like hers. For ethnological studies, it's essential. For authentic practice, seek accurate sources. What's commonly called Santería is truly the Ocha Ifa religion, Yoruba religion, Lucumí religion, or Afro-Cuban religion. Recently, terms like Ifaism or Ifism have emerged, emphasizing Ifa's centrality. For practitioners, the Ifa corpus forms the foundation of all religious work. This isn't a single physical book, but an extensive body of orally transmitted knowledge containing our belief systems, sacrifices, ebo, ceremonies, Aiyé, taboos, iwu, offerings, adimu, and every aspect of practice. This is why you'll often hear questions like, under which Odu, sign, was this sacrifice made? The Ifa corpus provides our complete religious structure. Don't worry if these concepts seem complex. True understanding comes gradually. As Ifa teaches, the surest way to know nothing is to try learning everything at once. In essence, our religion seeks holistic well-being, harmony across 4 dimensions: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. Imbalance in one triggers a domino effect, destabilizing the others. Numerous factors can disrupt this balance: esoteric attacks, displeased deities, negative forces, ajoguns, or violating personal taboos, iawio. Thus our destiny, ayanmo, is shaped by everything from negative attitudes to environmental conditions. According to our beliefs, before incarnating on earth, Aiyé, we stand before Olodumare, Supreme God, in heaven, Orun. There, we request all we wish to achieve and experience in life, defining our destiny. Olodumare listens patiently, blesses our chosen path, and may offer counsel, but never denies our self-chosen destiny. 2 witnesses attend this sacred moment: Orun Mila, deity of wisdom and divination, and our guardian angel, Orisha Alagbatori. The Ifa corpus teaches us that due to a decree by Elenini, the deity of misfortune, we forget everything we requested before Olodumare when we arrive on earth. This is why we're born unaware of our true purpose and destiny. This destiny is encoded in the Odos, signs, of Ifa, and through these signs, our celestial witnesses, Orun Mila, and our guardian angel, reveal what we asked of Olodumare. This is precisely why we need the guidance of oracles and the council of the Orishas to align our Ori, head consciousness, with our Ayanmo, destiny, and achieve success in life. The oracles illuminate the path we must follow to fulfill our life's purpose. Since the dawn of time, humans have lived in a world of dualities. We're constantly exposed to the errors these dualities bring and our inability to grasp the whole truth, leaving our minds in a state of psychic blindness, a darkness clouding our senses and discernment. The oracles of our tradition serve the vital role of opening our eyes to this duality, offering clear guidance. When we ignore this counsel, we worsen our own circumstances. In the materialist worldview dominating modern society, physical reality becomes the primary obstacle to overcome. We wrongly separate spirit and matter, forgetting our holistic health and failing to recognize that true fulfillment is a spiritual state manifesting through matter as the success we crave. This is the true purpose of the Orisha religion, to guide us toward a fulfilling, prosperous life with the help of the Orishas and Aiyé. They assist us in overcoming obstacles, dissolving dualities, and granting us clarity to achieve our goals, in other words, to fulfill the destiny we chose before Olodumare. In original Yoruba tradition, there's a profound birth ceremony called Aiyé, the feet touch the earth. This isn't just a welcome ritual, but a pivotal moment to discern the newborn's spiritual purpose. Aiyé is performed 9 days after birth for boys and 7 days for girls, reflecting Yoruba beliefs about masculine and feminine energies settling into the material world. During this sacred rite, the oracle is consulted to reveal the baby's Odu, sign, unlocking insights into their destiny and personality. The ceremony is also an early spiritual initiation. In Nigeria, the child receives the Isefa, equivalent to the Afro-Cuban Mano de Orula, Awofagan for men, Ikofa for women, a public name, and a secret spiritual name known only to parents. Through this ritual, parents learn crucial aspects of their child's destiny and receive guidance from Orun Mila via Babalawos on raising them according to their path. This includes advice on education, temperament, taboos, and spiritual gifts to nurture. When our religion reached the Americas, this tradition was transformed by the imposition of Catholicism. Enslaved ancestors adapted to Catholic baptism, replacing Yoruba names with Christian ones, a change enforced by colonial laws requiring Catholic names on official records. Yet our ancestors kept the tradition alive in secret. Until the mid-20th century, many Yoruba descendants in Cuba lived with dual identities, a Catholic name for society and a hidden Yoruba name for spiritual life. Catholic baptism became a legal formality, while true ceremonies persisted in private. It's important to note that all world religions have naming or baptism rituals to welcome new members. This universality underscores the cultural significance of spiritually receiving a new life. Though those born in the Americas didn't receive the traditional Aiyé, this doesn't exclude us from the Afro-Cuban tradition. Religions evolve, adapting to new contexts while preserving their essence. Anyone studying our religion through the Ifa corpus or dialogue on corpus, cowrie shell divination, will discover its holistic focus on human well-being. This encompasses 4 dimensions: physical health, body, mental health, thoughts, emotional health, feelings, and spiritual health, life purpose. Harmony among these dimensions brings prosperity. Thus our tradition is holistic, using metaphors, symbols, and sacred stories, patakis, to teach us how to refine our lives. Through ebo, sacrifices, respecting iwu, taboos, and following our revealed path, ita, we achieve fulfillment. But our religion transcends individual benefit. It teaches us to guide others toward their spiritual goals. True holistic health is its aim, not questionable practices like love spells, which breed dependency and insecurity. Those who manipulate others ironically enslave themselves to greed, okanjua, and a wicked heart, okambururu, sacrificing inner peace. In our holistic vision, priests, Orishas, and Babalawos are more than ritual officiants. They're guides, community role models, and traditional healers with deep knowledge of herbs, animals, and minerals for both esoteric and physical healing. Whether through cleansing baths, ebomisi, protective charms, inches, or other rituals, these acts are forms of holistic medicine. Even spiritual harm, ogu, is treated as an illness, Orun, requiring cure. Yet, like all medicine, this demands years of study, a commitment many modern practitioners lack, opting instead for shortcuts to power. Sadly, harmful practices often overshadow healing. We must never gamble with people's health. Many Ifa teachings advise consulting conventional doctors for complementary care. Physicians address the physical, while we tend to the spiritual. Physical health isn't more important than other dimensions, but priests must never pose as untrained doctors. Ethics are paramount. An Orisha may promise healing, but this depends on the priest's competence. If unprepared, priests must humbly refer seekers to qualified elders. Failure to do so risks harm, a fault of the priest, not the Orisha. In conclusion, Santeria, more accurately, the Ocha Ifa religion, is a profound spiritual path designed to align us with our destiny, balance all aspects of health, and live fully. It's not superficial magic, but an ancestral system that, practiced correctly, transforms lives. In this video, we explored Santeria's foundations, from Yoruba roots to its evolution in the Americas. We saw how it survived persecution through syncretism while preserving its essence. We learned of its holistic focus on physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being, and key concepts like Ayanmo, Ebo, and Iwo. To dive deeper into these principles, explore our deities, or understand the Spiritismo and Palomonte, check out my specially curated ebook, link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with those curious about Santeria's true essence. Your brother in spirit, Ofún Oshe, Iboru, Iboya, Iboshishe. May the blessings of the Orishas be with you,